Hello, everyone. Just wanted to check in with you. It's April 30th, and I know that some of us have gotten tired of news and update, and I know that there's a variety of different news sources out there, and there's some rumors and bad information. I just wanted to kind of do an update so that if you're in that place, you can kind of have some shared information about the reality of our situation, but also give you some encouragement and some suggestions. One of the things that I'm thankful for with my parents, mentors, church family network is that we're people of faith and wisdom. And I'm thankful for that. So I just thought it'd be helpful for us to just kind of let's get a refresher, a recap of where we are. We've just passed the 100-day mark of this journey with the COVID-19 novel coronavirus. After the 100-day mark, unfortunately, what we have seen is over 1 million positive tests. We have seen around 20,000, about 21,000 cases in the state of Maryland, just over 2,000 cases in Baltimore City. Around the world, there have been over 225,000 deaths. In the United States, we're nearing that 60,000 death mark in just 100 days, which puts us at, we have now passed the number of U.S. soldiers that died in the Vietnam War. For perspective, over about a 14-year period, we've seen that in the last 100 days. So this is a tragedy. It might be affecting us in different ways, but I just wanted to kind of refresh. That's the situation that we're in, and that's the seriousness of the disease. Now, certainly we are praying for God to do a miracle, to do a sudden stop to it, and a healing and a help, and we're praying for our essential workers, for those in the medical field, in labs. We're praying for a quick vaccine and treatment. We're praying for miracles all around, but I think it's important for us to just kind of refresh where we are so that we can walk in wisdom. We're trying to really take some lessons learned from what we saw in the 1918 H1N1 flu pandemic, which saw a whole lot more in the way of death, and there were Christians involved with that that walked in faith and wisdom. And some lived and some did amazing things and saw miracles and answers to prayer, and some died. So right now, where we are is we are being asked to use social distancing practices. That means outside of people that are in your household, keeping at least a 6-foot distance from people. And we're being asked to wear face covering. That is to protect yourself from receiving the respiratory spray, so to speak, for lack of a better word, from somebody else's nose and mouth, but also to keep you from spreading yours. And there's a lot of great videos out there about how to make face covering, but it's something that I would strongly advise you to do. Everyone should be wearing masks when you are outside your home and in a situation where you're going to be near other people, because a sneeze, that can travel quite a distance. And this virus is very contagious, and unfortunately, it is deadly, and there is not a way to prevent the death at this point. And what we have seen true is that there is no age group or ethnicity that is immune to this disease, this virus. Now, it does seem to affect different people in different ways, and feel free to do some research about that. And presently, right now, in doing some research, what we would have to say is that we have nowhere near enough testing ability to test everybody that needs to be tested. The medicines that are being tested right now that may slow it down, where there have been some breakthrough, we're not yet at a place of being able to say that we can treat it. And we don't have enough in the way of tools and facilities to be able to reopen the country, so to speak. And so it's important for us to understand what that means. The social distancing and the wearing a face mask is to try to protect us from getting to a place where we have more people that get infected and are sick and need medical treatment than we have the ability to treat. And that is primarily because the average coronavirus patient needs to be on, where it gets bad, they get to a place where they need to be on a respirator. And that for 2 to 3 weeks, and we just don't have enough in the way of equipment in the medical network in order to be able to handle that. And so let's just kind of remind ourselves that that's why we are being told to do that. And so I think we can get through this. I can't think we can find new ways of living, and I think we are, and I think we see a lot of good signs about that. I wanted to just talk real quick on a church basis with an update from the governor of Maryland. So what Governor Hogan has said is that before he was going to lift the quarantine type conditions, here's what he wants to see. He wants to see 2 weeks of 3 different numbers staying level or going down. And those numbers are people that are being hospitalized for the coronavirus, first. Second, number of people that are in the ICU because of the coronavirus. And third, the number of deaths from the coronavirus. He wants to see 2 weeks where that number is plateau, is level, or is going down. And then he has a 4-stage plan for reopening the state. And as it relates to church, here's what this means for us. Okay, stage 1 would give churches the ability to do outdoor gatherings of limited attendance. Okay, so only outdoors and only in smaller groups with social distancing. Stage 2 would be where smaller churches could potentially worship indoors. And then stage 3 is where then most churches would start to resume their in-person worship. And then stage 4 just kind of goes on to there for larger gatherings for, theaters, sporting events, things of that nature. So here's what I just want to tell you. My perspective right now is that life has changed. And I think that we have learned ways to use online tools that we're probably going to continue to do for the foreseeable future, because I know that we have people in our church family that have members of their household that are particularly at risk to this virus and to passing away from this virus. It could be due to age, it could be due to underlying medical conditions, immune system issues. And what we want to do is we want to be the best possible support that we can be to everyone. And so my heart, my desire is for us to just continue to provide that online no matter when we do resume services. And I would have to say that sitting here today, based on what, here's what I'll say. For us as a church, we are not going to go against this current stand that the governor has taken from a legal perspective. We're not going to resume in-person services against that counsel because we want to operate with faith and with wisdom. And we think there's a whole lot that we can do without operating face-to-face, even though we definitely miss it. The other thing that I would have to say is that given the heartbreaking outbreak that we're seeing in nursing homes and the governor's recent action to try to get every staff member tested, to try to get as many of the residents of nursing home tested, what we're going to see most likely, unless there's a miracle, is an increase in the numbers. And so the likelihood that that 2-week clock that the governor mentioned, that's not going to happen straight away. And even if it were starting soon, we would still be probably a month away from even being able to start back up in-person services. Now, I know that might be discouraging to you, but I've got some encouraging stuff that I want to share with you as well. But being a people of faith and wisdom means that we should be making plans for this reality. And I want to encourage you, please reach out to myself or Pastor Rebecca or your small group leader or somebody in the church family if you need help. Reach out to us. Let us know. The main phone number is 410-929-1619. But we want to do whatever we can to be helpful to you. So we need to be planning for this. The schools are still only closed for the next 2 weeks. Most likely, based on what other states are doing, the kids are not going to be going back to in-person school. And this is going to be a long-term thing that we're going to learn. We're going to learn new ways of doing life. We're going to get through this. We don't know the future, but we know who holds the future, and that is our God, who loves us, who has provided for us, who is going to help us. The reality is that the world has faced challenges worse than this in the past. This is a great time for creativity. This is a great time for starting new ventures. And I know that it's disorienting. It can be discouraging. And what can happen, and this has happened in my own life in the past, is that layers of anxiety, layers of stress can start to build up, even when you're taking it easy, even when you've unplugged from normal rhythms. And so I just want to give you some suggestions today. So, first of all, you're a spiritual being, like it or not, believe it or not. And I strongly recommend that every day you have a minute of silence to reflect on who God is and who you are as a result of that. To talk to God, to ask God for miracles, to change the things that we want to see changed. But I want to encourage you to include 3 things in your time with God. Thanksgiving. Man, I miss Thanksgiving. I love pumpkin pie. I love turkey. But it's not just a day for that and football. It's actually, Thanksgiving is a spiritual discipline where I choose to thank God for whatever I can. So, for example, we recently had a leaky roof, and it has been raining a lot today, and so far, no water in the master bedroom. I'm really thankful for that. So I say thank you, God, for that. Another thing that I think is very helpful to do is thank God for your salvation. If you have received Jesus as Savior, that means you're clean, you've got new life. Thank God for that and rest in it for a minute. Just enjoy that peace. Heaven is your home. This is not the end of the story. So Thanksgiving. Second, take your concerns to God in prayer. Take our cares to God, believing that He cares for us. Ask God to change what you want to see Him change. Let go of the things that are appropriate for you to let go of, but take your requests to God. And third, in that moment of prayer, choose to focus on what is good. Focus on the truth that despite what we're seeing, God is good. God is overflowing in love. God has given us life. God is alive. God is aware of what's going on. God is able, and God is active. So focus on some positive things. Focus and bring yourself into attention. What is God saying to you? Open up the Bible. I provide at benmalman.com some suggestions every day. What is God saying to you? So that's some suggestions about faith and prayer. Another practical suggestion, and this might sound crazy, but think about your rhythms. Maybe you are quarantining. Maybe you're not an essential worker. Maybe your rhythm is just completely changed. And maybe you're not sleeping like normal, and maybe and you're streaming more shows. Maybe you're just relaxing and just trying to cope in any way possible. And I think that's a normal human reaction. Taking in a wide variety of entertainment, I like to call it Novocaine for the brain. You've been to the dentist and maybe you had to have a filling filled like I have, and you get that injection of Novocaine that kind of numbs you. Sometimes stress management is taking in different forms of entertainment, and it can be Novocaine for the brain. It can be self-medicating, and you can in certain portions that can be helpful. It's really helpful to rest. Actually, resting once a week is a God idea. God knew that we needed it. But too much Novocaine for the brain leads us to a place of getting increasingly maybe anxious or just distracted, or thinking about things that maybe I shouldn't, or just in unhealthy thought patterns or emotions, and they can start to become overwhelming to us because we're not choosing what we're going to focus on carefully. So think about your rhythms. Get exercise. Man, sometimes I hate that word, but last week I got back on the exercise bike and it felt so good. Exercise, get yourself, you can do push-ups, you can do sit-ups. There's lots of at-home exercise resources on the internet that you can find. Do some exercises, hydrate, shower every day. It's good for your physical health. It's good for your mental health. Shower, get clean. And then I really recommend before you go to bed at night, stretch. Do some stretches. Stretch your body, stretch your back, tighten and relax your muscles, and do some breathing. Slow down your breathing. Do long, slow breaths. Those are ways to help you sleep better. And just avoid having anything with a screen on for at least a good 15 minutes before you lay down. It'll really help you. But think about rhythms. And another thing that really helps some people in their mental health is also dress like you're going to work. a little bit occasionally. Dressing up after you've exercised and taken a shower, that sort of thing, can be helpful. And I just want to, in closing, just share a couple of encouraging thoughts with you. Listen, City Harbor Church family, you are part of something bigger than yourself. Thankfully, so far, our church finances are stable. We're doing okay. And I want you to know that we only have a little bit of support still coming in from the outside financially. Our church family is who supports the church and its resources. And I'm thankful to say that we're stable. And this is good for a number of reasons. One, the rent that we pay to Hamden United Methodist Church for the facility is really helping to support the food pantry that is there, that's still operating on Wednesdays, all Wednesdays except the fourth Wednesday of the month. So we're helping support people get food. Another thing is that we, through your contributions to City Harbor Church, which can be done at cityharborchurch.com or through the Church Center app, we are starting to participate in weekly grocery giveaways. 2 weeks ago, we gave away 450 boxes of groceries and to people that are in serious need. And we're doing that again. And that is actually turning out to be more expensive than we had anticipated for a few reasons, which I can get into at another time. But your giving makes it significantly possible for us to give food to people who need it. So you can be a part of something that is bigger than yourself. Please do continue to give towards that end. But the main reason I'm sharing it is that I want you to know, hey, we're doing good stuff. We're meeting needs in Baltimore City. We're helping people, and we also, through a number of people in a number of other ways, we're taking toiletries and clothing. We're doing different things to help people, and you are a part of that. Now, another thing that I just want to put a thought in your mind. Listen, you may be self-quarantining at home, but you don't have to be contained. You can be released to be active, to reach out to people that you know. Here's what I would encourage. Sit down, put a timer on, spend 5 minutes, think about 10 people that are in your life and write down at least one thing about them that you appreciate about them, and then send them a text, do a social media post, do something, let them know what you appreciate about them. Hey, and it could be something funny, it could be something serious, but send an appreciating note to somebody that's in your life. And also, you can get outside, get outdoors, exercise, and get out and look for your neighbors. Look for your neighbors and send them a smile, send them a wave. I saw some social media posts where some people are dressing up in formal wear to take out the garbage and wave to people. Find something funny, find something enjoyable to do to greet the people in your neighborhood, share a little bit of love with them. The other thing is I would just really encourage you to do, don't get isolated and don't feel like you have to always talk about something serious. Reach out to somebody that you know for a phone call that's just fun, just goofy. Find ways. We've been having folks that have been doing that virtual game nights and things like that. I know you might be getting tired of the virtual communication thing, but take a deep breath. Think about the way that other people can be an encouragement to you. Hey, we can do this. We're going to discover new things. There's going to be new creative things. And I'm hearing from some of you about how good this has been for you. You've had a chance to reset and have some clarity and have a breath of fresh air. Hey, we can do this. I care about you so much. Pray for you guys on a regular basis. Thank you for taking time to watch this.